The real estate market is always changing, and if you're not paying attention, you could end up buying into a money pit. But if you know where to look, 2025 could be your best investment year yet. Hey guys, I'm Brandy Leiden, host and founder of Mom You're Not Alone. I'm also a local realtor and investor here in Knoxville, Tennessee. So let's dive in. Did you know home prices have risen over 5% year over year, and in some sectors are primed for massive growth, while others are sinking fast? In this video, I'll break down the best and worst real estate sector, ranking them based on market trends, supply and demand, investment potential, etc. So where should you put your money in 2025? Let's dive into it now. First thing we're going to talk about is single-family homes. Right now, single-family homes are in expansive cycle. Prices are climbing due to low supply and high demand. There's a home inventory crisis. There were only 1.1 million homes for sale in Q4 of 2024, so 40% lower than pre-pandemic levels. There are rising prices. The median home price is expected to increase another 3 to 5% in 2025, especially in high-growth cities. And then we've got first-time home buyer demands. So the millennials, the largest home buying generation, make up about 43% of buyers and are entering into peak home buying years. Then we have interest rate, wild card. So if rates drop below 6%, expect a surge in demand again, pushing prices even higher. So an investor takeaway, if you are considering investing, look for deals in Sunbelt cities such as Florida, Texas, Arizona, Tennessee, etc. And here we are in Tennessee. How great is that? Where job and population growth are strong. And if you're looking for house hacking or flipping ideas, beware that if rates drop, competition heat up. And I would say in the current market that we're in the Knoxville, Tennessee market, that competition is already heated up. Investors that have cash, they don't care about the interest rates, so they are continuing to buy and getting those deals. So if you are considering that, I would say marry the house, date the rate, and dive in if it makes sense financially. The second thing we're going to talk about is multifamily. So multifamily real estate is coming out of a recession phase, which means buying opportunities potentially in 2025. There are some price drops, so in major cities, multifamily prices fell 15 to 20% in 2024 due to high financing costs. And then you've got high rent demand. So more than 35% of Americans now rent due to the rising home prices. Then we've got cap rates. So cap rates are up. Average cap rates are now 5.5% to 6.5%, meaning better cash flow compared to the ultra low cap rates of 2021 and 2022. You also have motivated sellers. There's an example in Austin, Texas. There was a 150 unit apartment complex that sold for $22 million in 2022. It's now being listed for 18.5, so $18.5 million. And this is due to the high interest rates. So the investors that own these properties cannot refinance and they're having to offload them. So this is an investor takeaway. What are the best deals? If you look for value add properties in cities with strong job growth, what's your best play? I would say buy before the next expansion cycle kicks in, if this is the city that you're looking in. And then the third realm we're going to talk about is industrial real estate. One of the most recession-proof assets going into 2025. You've got e-commerce growth, so warehousing demand has surged 35% since 2019. This is fueled by Amazon, Shopify, and logistics companies. So plenty of people are looking for warehousing space. And then you've got low vacancy rates. So industrial vacancies are under 4%, with rents rising 8 to 10% annually. And then you have AI and automation boom. So companies are investing in AI and robotics. They need specialized industrial spaces, creating a long-term demand. And there's an example of this. So in Southern California, industrial rent prices increased 13% year over year as companies scrambled for storage and fulfillment centers. So what kind of takeaway is this for you, an investor? What are the best markets? So I would say major transportation hubs, such as like Atlanta, Houston, Inland Empire in California. And then what's your best play? I would say long-term leases with strong tenants. That's going to get you a stable cash flow for sure. Now, I'll share a little bit of my personal experience building my real estate portfolio. I definitely agree on the industrial space because commercial leasing, so warehousing, things like that, I mean, that's my most stable rent source and cash flow. You know, you've got 3 to 5 year leases, triple net in many cases, one tenant, and they're going to bring in, you know, probably triple what, you know, your one house, one single family home is going to bring in. So cash flow is huge there. All right, the fourth thing we're going to talk about is self-storage. So one of the highest return on investment real estate investments, especially in uncertain times. There's, you know, tons of renters. With more people renting and moving, self-storage demand is getting huge and growing at a 7% annual rate. You've got minimal overhead, so high margins. Storage units can operate at a 50% to 60% profit margin compared to like 30 to 40% for apartments. And then you've got recession, right? So recession-resistant things, during the economic downturn, downsizing increases storage demand. So you're recession-proof, essentially. Everybody needs storage. We'll give an example here on this. So there was a self-storage facility in Tampa, Florida. It recently sold for $4.2 million, generating $400,000 net annual revenue. And this was a 9.5% return. So is this your best play? Maybe. If you look for high growth metro areas where apartment rents are high, you will be in a great area for storage units. Another tip would be convert underperforming retail spaces into self-storage. So you've got, you know, areas of town that you have a retail strip center that's just empty. No stores are in it. You know, it's been vacant for years. You could turn that into a self-storage, and that would be a great conversion space. And you might be able to get it for a cheap price, cheap rent, etc. Or, you know, an investor that's looking to offload that. All right, the fifth thing we're going to talk about is retail. So retail is a mixed bag. Some sectors are thriving while others are collapsing. You know, your winners are going to be grocery anchored shopping centers. So you've got like a food city and then 3 or 4 other spaces, medical offices, etc. Those are going to be huge. Your drive-throughs and your quick service restaurants, such as Starbucks, Chick-fil-A, you know, the demand is up for those retail spaces. Experimental retail, you've got, you know, entertainment-focused malls, fitness centers. These are all winners. And some things that you want to kind of look out for are malls and big box stores over 2,500. Retail stores shut down in 2024 due to e-commerce dominance. And so, you know, the big box retails are just going out. So outdated strip malls that don't have a grocery anchor, these strip centers are struggling. If you think about like Bed Bath & Beyond, their collapse led to millions of square feet of vacant retail space now being converted into self-storage, medical offices, things like that. In our area, the store HomeSense took over, and that's the store that is owned by TJ Maxx, Home Goods, Marshalls, that brand. So what's your best play in this environment? I would say invest in necessity-based retail, so medical, grocery, services like that are not going to go away. And really avoid those traditional malls unless they're in a top tier location. If you're going to go into that, investing into the commercial retail space. And the sixth thing we're going to talk about is office buildings. So if there's one sector to be cautious about, it's office real estate. There is a huge work from home shift. So office vacancy rates are up 20 to 25% in major cities. And then you've got distressed properties everywhere. So many office buildings are sitting half empty with no clear path to profitability. Then let's talk about possible conversion. So some office spaces are being converted into apartments, but this process is really slow and super expensive. So let's chat about a takeaway from this sector. So you want to avoid traditional office investments unless there's a clear redevelopment strategy. And what's your best play on this? Well, if you must invest, look for medical offices or co-working spaces. Sectors are still seeing demand in this. So like a co-op space that people can rent small spaces within a big space to work from, those are popular too, even though we're seeing a lot of work from home and vacancy in those office spaces. My final thoughts and 2025 real estate strategy. Best investment sectors for 2025. The first one we talked about, single family homes, multifamily rentals, industrial real estate, warehousing, logistics, etc. Self-storage, high ROI, low overhead. And then let's go back and summarize our risky sectors for 2025. That's going to be retail, so be really selective if you're going to dive into that sector. And then office, high vacancies, distressed market, you really do not want to dive into retail and office, most likely, especially if you're a first-time investor. All right, guys, hopefully this was helpful. If this gave you any value, don't forget to like and subscribe today and share with anyone you think might benefit. Thanks for watching.